Winemaking for me is the complete process from vineyard to cellar. What I enjoy is the interpretation of what nature gives. And I think the unique way that I interpret the vine and the wine produces wines of distinctive character. I'm Coenie Snyman from Snyman Wines. I've had a rich history in the last 30 years in the wine industry. I grew up in Stellenbosch. In the olden days, my father was classified as a missionary. He worked on the wine farms with the laborers. I then grew up going to wine farms in Stellenbosch and seeing a lot of wineries. And I thought, what an ancient industry. This industry needs revival. I initially started chemical engineering to design wineries, and at vastly I quickly realized that there was an option to actually study wine. During studies, I had the privilege of doing my practicals at Vergelegen with Martin Maynard, and after that I did a vintage with Chris Keat at Cordoba, and I still see those two as my mentors and my introduction into the wine industry. Then I started working at the Bergkelder. I was there for 10 years, and it prepared me for my next step when I went to Vrede in 2005. David Higgs came on board, started the Vrede fine dining restaurant, and suddenly wine is not a thing on its own, it's part of a meal. And that changed a big paradigm for me. I left Vrede and made my first wines under Snyman Wines in 2022. The focus of this brand will be very much Stellenbosch based. I'm going to do a Chenin Blanc, a Cinsault, and then the focus will definitely be Cabernet Sauvignon from Stellenbosch. I've worked my whole career with Cabernet, and I feel that I want to focus on an expression of Stellenbosch Cab that I can show to the world. One of the privileges of working at Vrede is that you immediately noticed by the Cape Winemakers Guild, and I was fortunate enough to also win the Diners Club Winemaker of the Year in 2009. That led to my nomination, so I became a member in 2010. With my Cape Winemakers Guild wines, we're all very much focused on Vrede Estate blend. For the future, I will be looking at Cabernet Sauvignon for the Guild. My first wine on auction was a single varietal Cabernet. 10 years later, we're going to make it a full circle and go back to Cabernet. I believe that wine is part of food and food is part of wine. The conversation around dinner with a glass of wine is just so much better than without a glass of wine, especially if it's good.